Well met. My name's Shade, and this is what I've made. This project started out as a sketch for a different idea. It quickly took on a life of its own and turned into something that I thought had a story worth telling. So, enjoy the tale of Blink, Edge of Eternal Gaze.
In a realm where shadows danced beneath the light of twin moons, an artificer named Urdil ventured into the heart of the Eldrin Hollow, a treacherous expanse feared by even the bravest of souls. For generations, his family had kept an ancient tome said to hold secrets of unimaginable power, a crumbling artifact bound in leather and etched with runes that no mortal dared to decipher. Now he sought to trade this forbidden knowledge for a prize of his own. He wished to forge an artifact that would solidify himself in the annals of time. Rumours whispered of Zulgor, an infamous observer who guarded ancient secrets lurking in the depths of a cavernous lair. As he descended through twisting tunnels, the air grew thick with the stench of brimstone and decay. Flickering torchlight revealed viscous pools of magma, hissing and bubbling with malice. At last he reached the lair of Zulgor the Observer. The monstrous creature hung suspended amidst a web of stalactites, its central eye glaring balefully. A myriad of eye stalks swiveled in Urdil's direction, appraising him with cold calculation.
Urdil, the Artificer. What brings a mortal to my domain?
Great Zulgor, I seek to bargain. Offer me one of your eye stalks, and in return I shall give you this ancient tome, a treasure of knowledge lost to time.
The Observer regarded him with a chilling calm, its eye stalks swirling in a mesmerizing dance as it pondered the proposal.
You dare propose a trade with me? What use have I for your feeble mortal magics?
This is no ordinary tome, Zulgor. This tome holds power, not just for me, but for you as well. It speaks of secrets that could allow you to command realms and bend the very fabric of reality. Even an observer such as yourself should find such knowledge intriguing.
The Observer was silent for a long moment. Then, with a gesture of its central eye, a single eye stalk detached from the orb, floating gently towards Urdil. The Artificer snatched it from the air, his fingers closing around the slick, pulsating flesh.
You have but one chance, Artificer. I shall grant you my gaze, but know this, it comes at a price.
As foreboding a warning it was, Urdil had claimed his purse.
I am in your debt, great Zulgor. May our paths never cross again.
In the weeks that followed, Urdil worked tirelessly in his workshop, a cacophony of clinks and thuds echoing as he fused the eye stalk with rare metals and enchanted gemstones. The air crackled with anticipation as he meticulously crafted the dagger. The moment he finished, the blade thrummed with dark energy, as if the blade itself was alive. Blink, Edge of Eternal Gaze was born. The dagger burned with potential, oozing the power of Zulgor's glare.
This shall be my key to unlocking the deepest secrets of the cosmos. With an observer's eye, no mystery shall be beyond me.
And yet, as Urdil delved deeper into his arcane research, he began to realize his terrible mistake. The dagger's power was seductive, insatiable, every life taken by the blade enriched its power, feeding its ravenous appetite for bloodshed, knowledge, and mastery over all things obscure. With each strike, the dagger imparted blighted wisdom, vast and unfathomable, yet it came at a hideous cost. Days turned into weeks, weeks blurred into months, and Erdil found himself spiraling into madness. The dagger whispered secrets late into the night. He spurned all mortal pursuits. His only care was the dagger and the unholy power it represented. Friends became foes, allies morphing into targets. Anyone could serve as fuel for his dark motivations. Erdil revelled in the devastation he wrought, yet every victory only deepened his descent. Faces of the fallen haunted his dreams, their spectral forms woven into his every waking thought. Knowledge became an insidious addiction. No matter how much he gained, Erdil longed for more. Years turned to decades. Erdil's hair turned white, his face gaunt from lack of sleep. The dagger wrang from him the last vestiges of humanity until he was no longer Erdil the artificer, but instead a ravenous spectre drifting through shadows, consumed by an unrelenting hunger. At last, his body gave out, his spirit slipping away into oblivion. The dagger was lost, vanished into the sands of time. The legacy of Erdil the artificer faded into myth. A once esteemed mind now turned cautionary tale, whispered round campfires in hushed tones, a reminder of the perils of seeking power beyond mortal grasp. Such is the folly of believing one can wield an observer's power without consequence. However, the story does not end here. In the heart of the dusk-choked ruins of the capital, where the once majestic spires of civilization crumbled into shadows, scurried a street urchin named Nahri. Amidst the ruins' oppressive stillness, Nahri moved like a shade, darting between fallen pillars and broken statues, her fingers deft at uncovering what others had overlooked. Leftover bits of jewellery, tarnished coins and shattered pieces of pottery formed the entirety of her worldly possessions. Today, the pickings were slim. Disappointment gnawed at her belly as fiercely as hunger. She kicked at a loose stone, frustration bubbling up. Then, amongst the rubble of what might once have been some sort of workshop, something glinted. This was not the dull shine of common metals, but a deep, alluring gleam, possibly a relic from a bygone age. Nahri scrambled over a broken pillar, her heart quickening with a flicker of hope. Partially obscured by tangled roots and a sooty veneer, appeared to be an ancient blade. In a frantic rush, she dusted off the blade to study her spoil. Its hilt was intricately carved with swirling patterns, and an unsettling eye set into its crossguard that left her feeling as if she was being watched. It was unlike anything Nahri had ever seen. The moment her fingers wrapped around the hilt, a searing pain shot through her arm and into her skull. Pain, white hot, exploded behind her eyes. She gasped, stumbling back, her vision blurring. A voice coiled around her thoughts that seemed to originate from the very core of the earth. It was no tongue that Nahri spoke nor had ever heard, yet she understood every message being conveyed.
Knowledge, power, all can be yours.
No doubt the will and words of the inlaid eye.
Submit and ascend.
In that moment, Nahri's desperation and yearning met the dagger's call. The dagger's siren song found fertile ground in the barren wasteland of her hopes and sowed its seeds.
Yes, I submit.
The words escaped her lips before she could fully comprehend the magnitude of their weight. The voice purred in her mind, a sound like the turning of ancient gears. A cold elation washed over her, chasing away the gnawing emptiness. A pact was forged. Nahri and the blade became a twisted, symbiotic entity. Almost immediately, as if guided by an invisible hand, her eyes fell upon a loose stone in the crumbling wall. She pried it away, revealing a hidden nook, and within a small leather-bound pouch, heavy with gold coins. The dagger had delivered its first promise. With each new treasure, the voice within grew stronger, bolder, until it became a constant, insistent companion in her thoughts. Once a skittish urchin, she began to walk with a newfound confidence, her rags replaced by the finest threads, her hunger replaced by lavish feasts. Her ascent to power was not merely a shift in status, it was a transformation driven by desperation and dark ambition. Nahri, guided by the dagger's insidious longing, manipulated, betrayed, and conquered. Years blurred into a bloody tapestry of ambition fulfilled. Urchin turned usurper, she learned to weave lies as easily as breaths, to command armies, to crush dissent with ruthless efficiency. As time passed, her ambitions slowly twisted and melded into the dagger's insatiable thirst for knowledge. Amid this chaos, Nahri found fleeting moments of clarity. In rare instances, she would gaze into the mirror, searching for the girl she once was. The reflection that stared back was a stranger, nothing more than a flesh sack of ambiguity. The world was an endless puzzle that she had to unravel, a chaotic tome waiting to be catalogued, and she, the dagger's puppet, was its instrument. Her court, once sycophantic, now trembled before her erratic moods. Her cruelty became legendary, her decrees nonsensical, driven by whispers only she could hear. As time passed, Nahri's once sharp and cunning eyes were now dull and seemed to glow faintly with an eerie light. An unholy wrongness hung about like a miasma. Murmurs of rebellion began to spread among her subjects. No longer their saviour, but a tyrant cloaked in shadows. Panic gripped the court. The nobles who had once grovelled at Nahri's feet now saw her as a mad woman, a harbinger of destruction. These murmurs of rebellion quickly turned to plans to overthrow. Nahri, trapped in the dagger's obsessive quest, was oblivious to the gathering storm around her. The mutiny was swift and brutal. Nahri found herself cornered, the dagger's whispers turning into screams of betrayal. They dragged her down into the deepest dungeons of the Empire, a stark contrast to the opulent palaces she had once commanded. The cold stone and layers of grime, a reminder of where this all started. There, in the suffocating darkness, Nahri was left alone with the dagger and the shattered remnants of her mind. Still clutched in her hand, it offered no guidance, no solace, only the chilling echo of its gluttonous curiosity, now turned inward, dissecting the unfolding catastrophe with cold detachment. Years passed, the city above began to heal, the scars of Nahri's reign slowly fading just as the stories of Urdil had. The diabolical queen, the terror of the land, now turned a broken husk, another forgotten tragedy buried deep beneath. All that was left, a withering heap of flesh, gibbering a meaningless jumble of arcane phrases, and broken pleas for power, and a cold piece of steel, watching and waiting for the next soul, desperate enough to heed its call.
These prints are up in my Etsy shop now if you want to pick one up. I have some other goodies there as well, if you want to check those out too. The link is downstairs. Thanks for watching.
Ugh.
Yeah!